look at business very carefully and I think what businesses can scale, and I try to camp out there.
Meet Jesse Stoddard, the dynamic founder and CEO of the Stoddard Agency. Jesse is committed to making a mark through infectious enthusiasm and strategic collaboration.
The reason why that's important, scaling, is for the success for profitability, but also for, if we really want to do what we say we want to do, which is help people. If you have a business that can grow, you're going to help way more people than a business that doesn't grow as much.
His journey spans from a fitness professional to a chief marketing officer who dramatically increased revenues for leading companies. Join us as we delve into how Jesse blends creativity with business acumen to transform industries and inspire others.
Because a business like this, you're going to be able to, first of all, get more customers, which helps the customer in the end results, but it also helps you hire more people.
Absolutely.
You're providing more jobs, which then provides for those families.
Yeah.
And then it's the butterfly effect.
Hey, welcome to Wicked Raps here in Mukilteo, Washington. Don't forget that's wickedraps.net. This is the official Wicked Raps podcast. We're excited to have our new guest here today. Obviously, do not forget my amazing partner, Christopher Goff here. And we would like to introduce you to our new guest on our podcast. This is Jesse Stoddard of the Stoddard Agency. And he's going to tell us a little bit more about who he is and what he does. Jesse, I'm going to go ahead and bring you in here, and you can let us know about the Stoddard Agency.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
You bet.
You're welcome.
That was an awesome intro. I'm fired up.
Appreciate you being here, brother.
Good.
Thank you. I do feel like I need the neon, though. I'm going to have to take a hat or a shirt.
We'll get you something. We'll start decking you out.
We're gonna get some Stoddard Agency stuff that's all neoned up.
I'll have to get a wrap, I guess. That's number one.
We got to help you there too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks again for having me.
Absolutely. Our pleasure. So tell us about Stoddard Agency. Give our audience a little bit of insight of who you are. Let's maybe scale it back a little bit and, tell us about your life a little bit before we jump too much into Stoddard Agency and what that's all about. But who you are, what you've done, maybe give us a little background on your history.
Yeah, right on. I'll give the short version that has to do with the business I'm in now. So I've had an agency, a digital marketing agency, since 2017. I'm actually, prior to that, I owned a gym at one point, and I've had a bunch of different businesses.
Yeah.
So I'm in marketing. I'm a fractional chief marketing officer now, and I own an agency, and I do a lot of things related to marketing because I have a passion for it and I love it.
Right.
But what's interesting is I always tell people there's usually pretty much three ways that people get into this kind of business. So you either come, most of the time you're going to hear, hey, I was an artist in college, and I really love to paint or draw or do photography.
Yeah.
And but it's hard to make a living, and so marketing became the way that I can make a living doing that. And so I was a creative who then started in the marketing world.
Okay.
The second way that people usually get in this line of work is they were a computer geek.
Okay.
So they were really good at coding, or they were in computer science,
Right.
And they were whiz, basically technologically. And then they're looking around, and all these small businesses or big businesses, they're like, well, we need marketing help, and it's all technical now. You got to get into Google, you got to do this, you got to do that.
Right.
So those people tend to get into marketing. And there's a third category, and it's more rare, and that's the one I'm in, which is you were a small business owner that had to do marketing to survive.
Got it.
And you had to learn it in the trenches, and you didn't necessarily have those other things. I was lucky in that I actually grew up in a lot of graphic arts too.
Yeah.
I was doing logo design when the first computers were doing that kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah.
and getting involved, I programmed a website in HTML code before, like in the early 90s,
Nice.
whatever it was, something back then. So I did some of that stuff, but I never thought of that as my career. I actually I didn't have much interest in it.
Yeah.
But then I had my first real job was a business. I was delivering papers, as a kid.
Yeah.
Because back when they had the child slave labor that they could do back then, and
Riding around on your pedal bike and slinging.
convincing little old lady to give me a quarter tip, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So you learn sales, and then I did a lot of little things, and then and I used to get paid to do cartooning, so I got little cartooning jobs here and there.
Yeah.
And drawing and that kind of thing. So
Is that like where you made the big fat heads on people and things like that? Okay,
Yeah.
nice.
Caricatures.
Yeah.
So a little bit of that, but then I started in college. I was always looking. I had 3 jobs in college.
Okay.
I went to University of Washington. And
Nice. Huskies.
I was sweeping the floors. I was mopping the floors of the building. I lived
love
in.
that, man.
I worked
great.
at the library at the school, and then I worked at a gym.
Nice.
And at the gym, I was everything. I was the front desk guy. At one point I was managing, or at least assistant managing, and then helping out with counting. And I was doing some training, and I kind of learned about that small business.
Yeah.
And I would have to come up with ideas. Like I would figure out how to do corporate sales. How do you go to a business and have all of them sign up to do the membership?
So you really pulled all of your attributes into one solid direction. So you're a creative, artistic, graphic designing, artistic geek.
Yeah, kind of.
Sales guy.
I think we got the business card figured out.
Yeah.
Oh, what a great tagline.
I just wish I was in better shape like I used to be. But I finally I decided, I went through some other stuff. I was exploring the world, lived in New York City, traveled around, did some other things at theater and things like that, creative things. The gym was actually the one that I thought was the coolest one.
Yeah.
Now, I did try some other dumb stuff. I had an import business.
Oh.
Actually, I imported silver from Mexico, and I imported a bunch of junk from China back before everybody was doing e-commerce.
Yeah.
And I had one of the first e-commerce.
So you were the first Temu.
I was. Yeah. I didn't know that there was this thing that called Amazon that would happen.
Right.
But we were trying to do these little online sites.
Yeah.
And it actually kind of worked.
Yeah.
And then my one thing that was fun is my dad was a woodworker, craftsman. And we had a little thing. A friend of mine who was from Mexico City, and so he was our bilingual specialist who could help import. And my dad built these beautiful cases, and for jewelry, silver jewelry. My now wife, who is my girlfriend at the time, was also making it. So we were really kind of getting into something, a little craftsman thing.
Yeah.
And my friend had this crazy idea. We're like, where are we going to sell this stuff? And he says, well, you believe it or not, in the authentic Mexican restaurants, people that are, like Hispanic people, they actually love this stuff and they buy it. And I'm like, in a restaurant? I was like, yeah. So we had a series of cases in Seattle in restaurants.
Oh, nice.
And it was at the front desk, and we were selling a lot of jewelry in a restaurant.
Oh, my gosh.
So we would have it there, on consignment.
Yeah.
Right.
Or wholesaling in some cases. Seemed like a brilliant business. And we were like, we're in our early 20s, and so we're trying to make some money. And then until we didn't think about things like insurance.
Yeah.
And we didn't think about logistics. And so we thought, well, what if we never thought, what if it got stolen?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we thought, we're going to have the box locked up. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And of course, they didn't lock up the box. And so somebody one night came in, and they didn't break the glass. They just stole the whole thing.
Yeah.
It was a lot of money worth of stuff. And we're like, no, And so we, anyway, we learned our lesson.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have any insurance, and we, and we kind of went out of business, but it was a good experience.
Yeah, you hear that, people? If you're starting a business, you need insurance, okay? He could have got his jewelry back.
So anyway, that was some of the things we tried, and eventually I opened up a gym with a partner.
Okay.
Had a couple of partners.
Was that here in Washington as well?
Not Michael Teal, Mount Lake Terrace.
Oh, okay.
The other end.
Yeah, the other end.
Yeah, and 44th Avenue West. And there was a big QFC there. We had $13,000 a month in rent and $500,000 worth of equipment.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of debt. And so it was started great. It was a really good business. That's where I really learned marketing.
Yeah.
Because it was a smaller, I don't know if you know that area, but it's more Briar.
Yeah.
Yep.
And people are like, why'd you even open a gym here? There's nobody here. It's, there is, but we had to really break in. And so we were doing all the the mailers at the time. There wasn't really internet marketing like
like guerrilla marketing.
Yeah, guerrilla marketing.
Yeah.
Getting out there. Well, I started reading up on it and researching and learning and studying and taking classes and really getting into it. And we sold a lot of memberships. We did really, really well in the beginning. I had trouble with the partners, unfortunately. Whole nother story for another episode. And then,
we know what those are like.
Yeah. And so we had a little bad breakup. But then also in this was right around 2005 and 6.
Yeah.
And if you remember what was happening, then all of a sudden in 7, all of a sudden the housing market, everything. Well, we were just caught in the wrong spot. And so basically...
I think a lot of people got caught up at that time. So a lot of gyms probably got caught up in that.
It was rough.
In that situation.
And so then, even though we had a lot of members, we had other problems. So I ended up getting kicked out of my own business, sort of, from my partner, but another story again.
Yeah.
And I had to start over, and I've done that multiple times. I had $2.2 million of debt with that, plus some real estate investments that tanked at that time.
Yeah.
So you guys know those are kind of hard stories. My partners, I think, went bankrupt, and so did a lot of my friends. I never did. I probably should have, but I went and paid off. I over 10 years paid off the debt.
Okay.
Wow.
So what ended up happening was all that to say is I started over multiple times, and then I kept doing these little business ventures and this and that. And finally, I'm like, the thing I liked the best was the marketing part.
Marketing.
That was the part that I thought was the most fun.
You picked up on the attractive analogy of what you were doing the entire time.
Yeah.
So now with your marketing, where do you focus your marketing? How you've got these great stories, these underlying elements that have helped build you to where you are today. And as we all know, we are where we are for a reason and for a purpose.
Yeah.
So now that you can take your background and knowing that starting over, you can actually get to where you need to be twice as fast because you've eliminated the learning aspect of that. So when you help people market, what is your true passion behind that? What is the most attractive quality of taking somebody and saying, this is what I can do for you, what you don't see, what you don't know, and what I do know from my past experiences to get you here? What is it? How explain that journey briefly. So when we plug and play you with other people that can use your talents, we want them to know, kind of from an elevator's perspective on the way down from the 10th floor to the bottom, what it is that you can take them to, and how do you get them there so quickly?
That's an awesome question, Christopher. That's like, wow. I wish I would have thought of that. $1 million question. So first of all, the passion part, that I think you kind of asked about that in the beginning there too. I really have a passion for small business. I think you guys do even more than I do, maybe, with all the connections you make. But I do understand what it's like to start something from scratch with huge, skin in the game, where you have either, like a second mortgage on your house or whatever it takes, and you put in everything. And then you can't just walk away because you don't get a day off just because you feel like you want a day off. And when you're starting out, it's hard. And so the lifeblood of that business is the lead generation. If you don't have a lead, you don't make a sale. And if you don't make a sale, you don't have a business and nobody has a job. Right. So I know that help is important. And I have a passion for helping small business. I don't want to get on a big soapbox, but it's also sort of slightly a political thing because I feel like we've got a big change in our world and our country. Yeah. Big businesses are getting bigger and smaller businesses are having a harder time. We really saw that in 2020. Yeah. Because when there was a lockdown, they didn't lock down Walmart. No. They didn't lock down the big boys and big box stores, but they locked down, Main Street America. Right. Yeah. And so those are the ones that I have the most passion for. Also, I think that's where a lot of innovation or most of the best innovations come from. Or small businesses. Yeah. Or guys like you. Yeah. Where you have, you're not some big mega corp, you are a small business, but you are pushing to push the envelope all the time. Right. So I like that. And when I see that, even if it's a plumber or an electrician, which is kind of a boring business, they still can make a big impact in their community. Yeah. And they can also, depending on their ethics. So here's the other part of that equation. I also don't want to just do that for anybody. I can't take every client. I don't want every client. There's a lot of other agencies out there that I pass business to. It's just not a good fit. Right. So it has to be something I believe in. Yeah. And something that I can get behind, and they have to have really good ethics and morals in how they do business. Yeah. Because I don't want to, I had a mentor once and he's like, this works for everybody. But if you're doing really bad, shady stuff, we're not going to take your money because we don't want to help you do that. Right. Exactly. So you also have to, I feel driven to help the right people. Yeah, I think that's the first part. And then I think the other part of your question was kind of like, how does that work? Right. Yeah. So the part that I've had to learn, everybody now focuses on the latest gimmick. And you do need to know what the gimmicks are. There's a lot of great marketing gimmicks. There's a lot of things that work. Yeah. And that's not to say that they're a negative at all. But I have a philosophy, and I repeat this probably once a week, which is most people focus on the tactics and the techniques of marketing and sales because they're flashy, they're shiny objects, and they change all the time. And there's something new, bigger and better and newer, right? Especially with all the tech. Yeah. What's the hottest thing right now? AI. What was it just not long ago? It's something else. It's changing all the time. Right. It's constantly evolving. But what they do is they focus on those things, they meaning a business owner typically, at the exclusion of everything else. And then they hope that there's some kind of a strategy behind that. And then they hope that strategy is based on a good business principle and foundational principle. Yeah. Well, I think that's flipping it around opposite of what it ought to be. it ought to be that we look at the business principles, which are timeless and probably haven't changed ever, or at least not in a long time. And then we look and make sure our strategy aligns with that. And then we handpick selectively which tactics and techniques make sense. So for example, everybody gets all excited about TikTok advertising or Instagram. Who's the best person? Who's the best Instagram influencer? And who's going to do it the right way? I'm like, well, those things are important because that's where we live. We live in a digital world. It's in that direction. But they never stop to ask, but does that even fit my brand? Does that even fit what I'm doing? Is my audience even on Instagram? I've had businesses that say they want to pay me a bunch of money to put them on TikTok. And I say, well, how many of your customers are on TikTok? It doesn't matter. We want to be on TikTok. Well, what do you sell? We sell hearing aids. It's like, okay, your customer is still in the yellow.
Wait, repeat that again. I couldn't hear you.
Their customer is still
They're
in
still
the yellow.
AOL dial-up.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
They're not on there.
Right.
And so it depends.
Yeah.
And so
Well, they're in Depends as well.
they're in depends.
So I see what you're saying,
you see
though.
what I'm saying.
Well, because really what you're looking for, most business owners, they have two faults going against them. One, they're human, and two, they're idiots when it comes to knowing what it does to market their company. Okay.
Yeah.
We all have things that are our challenge, or that there are non-dominant elements of our body. They also have great things, that attributes, like they're typically an expert in their business, whether it's a marketing expert or a rap installer. They're looking at different things that they can do, but we all have to have three elements that allow success to be an actual true monument that we're aiming for. And one of them is motivation. Second is dedication. And the third, most important, is persistence. We typically walk into these doors every single day with motivation of being great, of doing what we need to do, pushing the element of what the mega companies do from a smaller company. So whatever they're trying, we're going to do it over here on a different scale. And that's why people are attracted to our business from all over. So they're wondering what Wicked Raps is doing next. Are they dressing up like a bunny? Are they rapping a Cybertruck? Are they doing lives? Are they, what is next? What are they doing next? But what we need to know is what we don't know. And so we should always be a yes and a no man. One, yes, we're willing to try something. Yes, we're willing to adapt to our current society. And yes, whatever it takes, we're willing to try it again. And we know what we don't know. Know someone else who can do it. We know if we can't handle it, we know someone who can. So there's the yes and no attributes. And I believe that's where you fall into place, because that's what makes you so prominent to us. And a pivotal part of our business is we have incredible people that make us look great. We have Jay that allows these podcasts, allows our photos, allows our videos to just come off the board. We have Outsiders Media, Max. Dude's an impressive specimen when it comes to marketing us and making us look incredible. And he comes from a background similar to yours, with a lot of great opportunities and failures that have created the man he is. And then we have Jesse Stoddard, that has come from a background of just trying it until you hit the wall, and then it's a good thing, because then you're trying it and you push through the wall. And you don't give up. And you're going to make sure that people that work with you and work next to you and shoulder to you don't give up either, because you've got that ability to say, I got you. Don't worry about it. You're not going to fail it, because I'm going to make sure you don't. Because I've been there. I know what it takes not to. So that's, to me, where you're coming from. That's the attractive quality that these incredible people can take away from who you are.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well,
Awesome.
I was
very good, nice compliment, by the way.
absolutely couldn't have said it better myself, Chris. Jeez, you took the words right out of my mouth.
I know. I do. I still always
Well, one thing I was going to say, and this is for the audience, really. Let's be real. Small business ownership, it's what makes America great.
Absolutely.
Chasing that dream of a small business owner is a lot different than those large corporate companies that our small businesses support every day. And we all know, as small business owners, that all those manufacturing companies could not survive if we did not operate our businesses every single day buying their products to then resell out of our retail spaces. So again, America was built by small businesses. It is the backbone of America. So don't get confused in that regard. And also, most importantly, Jesse couldn't have said it better himself. Work and surround yourself around ethical business owners and people that have like-minded goals as yourself. Otherwise, they will tear you down, not build you up.
Absolutely. Some major things that we could really learn just from you and from other podcasts that we've done is, one, success is not final. There's always another level, right?
Yeah.
Failure is not fatal. Failure is great. We need to learn how to embrace failure and courage. And that's what counts. It's The fact that you got up, it's the fact that you tried again, it's the fact that you had the courage to start over. Those are life lessons that not only you can teach your children, you can teach yourself every single day, but you can teach people like Wade and I, so we can teach other people, but you can also teach other business owners because they need to know that they don't know what you know. They just need to know you, and they need you working for them so their business can thrive like ours has because of you.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna jump in here. Jesse, how do you know about Wicked Wraps? How did this relationship come to be? How do you know me? How do you know Chris? I'm sure the audience would like to know how all three of us know each other. So
I'm interested to hear your first impression of me, but I'll try to tell what I think is a somewhat funny story. So it's been 20 years. Yeah. About 20 years.
Yep.
I was in a local business referrals group. Yep. This was called The Tip.
Yep.
And it was in Lake Stevens. Mm-hmm. And it was actually a really charged up group. Got up to about 50 members.
Yeah, it was a pretty popping group.
We were maybe 30 members when you were joined or something. Yep. And this guy who we just called Wicked Wade. Well, we don't even know his name. He was Wicked Wade. Like nobody knew he had a last name. We thought your first name was Wicked. like that's what it was. And he comes in with this amazing wrap on a vehicle and just like crazy energy. And I don't think you wore these colors back then. No,
I didn't.
But you were a little bit, you know, like a little out of the norm. These are older guys. You know, and some
I was a young
wearing suits and stuff in the meetings, you know.
Yeah. trying to sell them a $8,000 vehicle wrap that they didn't know they needed so badly.
You were fired up.
Yeah,
and I just remember this guy is awesome. He's got some good energy, and so we hit off. And then I found out that you were a wrestler. Yeah, we talked about that quite a bit. Yep. And my son now is wrestling. And also, which is cool. Yep. But anyway, I had for that one of the fitness businesses I was involved in, I had a big van. And actually a Ford Econoline, and it was like a plumber's rig that I bought off him, used, a little dented up, banged up a bit, but we cleaned it up. And then Wade did an awesome wrap for me. Yeah. And they called me because I was, doing kind of like fitness boot camps and making people do a lot of push-ups.
Oh yeah, I remember that. So the Snohomish boot camp.
Snohomish boot camps. Yeah. They gave me a nickname, Mr. Pain. And so we had a big caricature drawing on it of some like sergeant, with a whistle blowing.
Yeah, I remember this.
Pain.
That's cool.
And it had camouflage all around it. It was pretty awesome.
I totally forgot about that rap, audience, and Jesse just reminded me of this.
And if you don't have pictures, I still have some.
Oh man, I'd love to see them.
We'll have to find the pictures and put them up on the podcast.
Yeah, we'll have to find them because gosh, that takes me way back.
They had had all the rigging for all the other stuff and ladders, but we used it to tie equipment to. Like we'd have the TRX straps wrapped to it.
Cool.
Yeah. We were working out on the van. Yeah. Pretty sweet.
Yeah.
And then I had a tagline called "Work Outside the Box." And so I would pull out boxes with equipment and we'd roll them out onto the fields, out in the parks and stuff.
Sure.
High school stadium.
It's a great idea.
Yeah. It was a great work.
Heck yeah, it was. Free rent. Just use the freaking public park. Like, hey guys,
it was pretty awesome. I got a little too big for my britches then. We had like 4 cities going on and 8 trainers.
Wow.
And we were in multiple places. And so it was a cool idea. And it got popular in California, but it hadn't hit Washington. And so it was just me and one other guy. There was a guy that had SeattleBootcamps.com. And I had Snohomish County. Okay. And so he stayed down there. I stayed up north. We shared ideas. And then this was before CrossFit.
Yeah. Then CrossFit came around.
Okay. It was kind of, and it was before the Spartan races and all that. Yeah. So we were the only ones doing this weird outdoor workout thing. Okay. Right. Everyone's like, what are you guys doing? And I still work out outside with a small group still for fun. I did it this morning. It was really great.
Fantastic.
Nice. I'm not in the business anymore, but it was a cool thing to do. So and that's how we met.
Yeah, I mean, I'll elaborate more on that too. Le Tip was my first time as a young business owner in my early 20s, stepping in front of a space that felt safe, felt comfortable, but I was super nervous. Having to step up and talk in front of people like Jesse and a lot of other people that had owned and or worked or operated a business for anywhere between 10 to 30 years. And so for this young guy, I think I was the youngest person in that group. Yes. It was
old-timers.
Yeah, it was definitely a learning curve for me. But what I got out of all that stuff from people like Jesse and a lot of other business owners in there is what I'm doing today. Those types of networking groups And all of those ways of forcing me in front of people to talk about my business. And then they're like, hey, you get 15 seconds to deliver a commercial. And I watch 40 some people stand up before me. And then I'm like, oh, and the whole time, all 39 people are going around. I'm like, and I'm just counting until it gets to me. And the whole time I'm just thinking of, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? And I used to get really stressed out about that stuff. But now it's just, it's so easy. It just comes out.
Practice.
Yeah.
Well, whether it's that or BNI or any of these, they have a purpose.
Yeah.
You do become a better public speaker.
You're right.
you do actually, they do become like your family. It is a source of referrals for your clientele.
Absolutely.
You do have that good feeling you get by helping other people, and it is money in your pocket. And those are the 5 from one of the groups. So
I love it.
I can't help but say that because it's been ingrained.
Yeah.
But I encourage people to get involved in those, especially when they're new.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's really good to have those connections. And some people will belong to it for long periods of time. For Wicked Raps, we were in Latip and BNI, I think almost 10 years.
Yeah.
And then we just got to a point where it just, we got busier and busier and busier. And then I'm like, well, gosh, now I'm having a hard time getting to that hourly meeting every week. But I do throw a lot of, credit back to Latip, BNI, and some of those things because it has made me the business owner I am today.
I also think you guys are unique in a business because you are a service provider and you're an automotive, but you're also a marketing company, which is really rare and bizarre if you think about it. Because what you're doing is hey, I need a wrap on my vehicle. So, okay, well, we're going to install the wrap. But it's also a mobile billboard. Yeah. And it also makes them grow their business, but then it also helps you grow your business because people are seeing it and they're like, where'd you get the wrap? And it's just really unique.
Yeah. We tell people that too. We say we're custom creative expert designers. We specialize in vinyl wrap installation and tinting, and paint protection film, and ceramic coat. So it's what you do and who you are 2 separate elements, and it's how you present yourself to the person that you're speaking with. So when I go to a meeting or I sit down with somebody, I don't tell them I wrap cars. Yeah. Less is more. I want them to know me and know what I do and know why I do it, where I do it, and then what I do is last. So, but if people, if they like you, they'll listen to you. Yeah. If they trust you, they'll do business with you. Yeah. And so I get them to like me, and then I get them to trust me, and then I tell them what I can do for them. And that is the attribute. That's how you get that Rubik's Cube to be solved so quickly. And that's how I deal with people.
I like it. I love it.
I see him do it all the time, just naturally when people walk into our retail space, and I kind of have my little approach and Chris has got his approach and we kind of just tag team, and then all of a sudden it's a relationship has been formed, and then all of a sudden a sale has been generated. And I think that's it is.
They're inviting us to dinner.
Yeah,
I'm holding their baby and petting their dog.
Hey, that's part of just being human. Yeah. I feel like today it's very easy to be disconnected from a business or not feel like you have any connection to that company that you just spent $30,000 with. And I feel like that has become so comfortable for people to easily just say, I'm just going to email you. And Chris and I have found that sometimes emails or things like that can be twisted. Maybe your words or things don't always come through right because the tonality of the email isn't necessarily the tonality of how you would speak to someone. I see that stuff every day.
Touch on that.
Yeah.
Something I want to mention.
No, go ahead. Fire in.
First of all, I've made the worst mistakes in business I've made, I think, are over email.
Oh yeah. I've made those.
I've had, you don't have the tone.
Yes, you have.
You don't have they can't see body language.
Right.
There's no context. There's no tone of voice. And you think you're saying one thing. I've almost lost a client over it not even long ago. And I thought I learned my lesson years ago, but I still make the mistakes sometimes where I put something out there and I thought this is just straightforward, no big deal. Yeah. And they perceived it as really offensive.
Well,
and I was like, why did I do that?
Yeah. It's not what you say, it's how you say what you say. Yeah. So if we do this via email or text, it's no different than me saying, hey, Jesse, that shirt looks good on you. And you seem like someone I want to do business with, and you got a great smile. And then we go on. You're going to think, okay, he was just placating me. He was just giving me these false securities. But if I go, man, Jesse, just the moment you walk in the building, the building just erupts with this awesome aura. And man, you got a great style. Seriously, just the way you've kind of pulled yourself together. You're professional, and I love that your outgoing personality makes us all want to be better people. I've said the same thing. It's just how I said it. Now, that's the connotation, right? You've seen me, you heard me, but in an email, people don't get that. In a text, they don't get that. It does not matter how much you overwhelm them with details and knowledge. All you're doing is looking like you're trying to hide something deep inside the proverbial garbage that most attorneys do. Sorry, guys. You guys are sometimes scum. And so,
There's a few good ones.
picking up the phone and actually having a conversation, 99.9% of the time will cure any negativity or any hurt feelings or any offensiveness that have been caused by a text or an email. So it's that lost art of actually being the person that someone else needs you to be.
Yeah, and taking that back to the marketing conversation, by the way, and your original question, I'm a big believer. One of my mentors talked about being high tech and high touch at the same time.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're losing with all of the technology right now is the high tech, the focus on high tech. And we need it. It's where it's going. Everybody's on their phone. Everybody's on their phone. Great. But we have to remember the high touch.
Yeah,
and so whenever I try to put something together now, I check, does it have the human side to it still?
Yeah.
So if somebody sends a text message to an AI bot and they know it's an AI bot, they're going to get annoyed pretty quick. They better be such good AI that they can't tell.
Right.
And even then, at one point, they want to talk to a human. When I get on the phone with a big company and I know I'm going to a call center, how much patience do I have?
Zero.
That's why I want to talk to a small business because I don't want to be on. But if I'm going through a process and it's smooth enough and then there's a person that cares on the other line pretty quick, that company I want to do business with. And people forget that in marketing. Our marketing is an extension of us and an extension of our sales team. So when we do our outbound email marketing, our text marketing, and our social media marketing, or we're trying to game the Google system, or whatever it is, and we're trying to get more people's eyeballs on our websites and more converted leads, that has to feel seamless to them. And the only way to do that is combine the two. You have to have the high tech because nowadays digital marketing is dominating.
I think high touch is a great example. I mean, I'll just give you a quick little example. Wells Fargo was my bank for 18 years. Every time I called them, it was nothing but a problem. I got pushback. I get pushbacks from the loan officers. It felt like I was walking into my, great grandma's house for the first time, and she's just learning banking at 98 years old, mind you. And so I was very happy when Christopher and I entered into partnership because that was my first opportunity to fire Wells Fargo. Yeah, you heard that, Wells Fargo. Fired you and got rid of them. Best decision we ever made in our history of our company. Went and met a awesome loan officer named Paul who works for Chase Bank. Hooked us up, got us everything we needed. He's responsive. He actually cares about our business and helps get us, the line of credits that we need and things like that. And most importantly, Wells Fargo, if you're listening, he actually drives here to my shop and does meetings with us. That's that personal high touch.
Absolutely. Comes here, sees what he can do about inviting us to events, actually looks at us not as a number, but as a business and as people. And we're people helping other people. That's all we want it to be. That's all we expect.
That's the most frustrating thing to me, whether it's personal things or it's business stuff, and I call, and the person that's supposed to be the educated person on the other line can't get me the answers. And then it's, 5 hoops to get through to the person who finally has the answer you're looking for. And so, and a lot of it's just because what they're giving me is automated type responses because they're just not the person that has the answer. And I wish a lot of times I could just go straight to the source to get the answer.
100%. So with ethics and opportunity, what we're always looking for, you are looking for not just anybody and not just somebody. You're looking for the one person that you can help elevate. And elevation is monstrous when it comes to someone else's business. What type of person are you looking for on a one-on-one basis that you know that you can help because that allows you to spend the right amount of time to do the right thing for them? What are you looking for in a class?
That's a great question. Thank you for asking that one. First of all, there's attributes of the individual and there's attributes of the business now for me at the place where I'm at. So the individual I've found over the years is even more important than the willingness, like how much money I'm going to get out of the deal. The individual is super important. First of all, they have to be, we already talked about the morals and ethics side. So that's without saying. It goes without saying. But there's also the want to grow. There's a mentality of wanting to grow. I've worked with clients in the past that didn't really want to grow. I've had clients that wanted to escape. and they wanted to just escape the business. In other words, they wanted to sell, or they just wanted to coast and retire.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that. Those are valid goals. I mean, a lot of people get into business to sell it. That's your exit strategy.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong. That's fine. But when you're starting a relationship with a marketer, I don't like those clients as much because they don't really want to do anything. They're trying to avoid change, and the thing I do is force them to change.
Yeah.
And so it's usually quite uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So if they want to grow and they have ambition, that's my favorite kind, because they're willing to take calculated risks and they're willing to try some new things. Yeah. And it almost always requires that. And so usually that'll be the first thing.
Yeah.
The second thing that I'm looking for is it has to be a business that I can get excited about. That's harder. It's more subjective.
Right.
Yeah.
I have a few niches that I specialize in over the years. Like right now, I'm excited about your guys' industry, the aftermarket automotive.
Yeah.
I love that industry. And,
Yeah.
and I have a brand called Auto Style Marketing that's just what we're focusing on.
Yeah.
My original Stoddard Agency is still my parent company, and we're getting more into multi-location work.
Nice.
And franchise marketing. So companies, I have an affiliation with the Franchise Bible Group, which he wrote that book.
Yep.
Rick
Yep.
Grossman, you know.
Yep.
I know him.
He's still going strong. by the
Nice.
way, and he's still doing stuff for Entrepreneur Magazine and whatnot.
Nice.
And so he has some opportunities there, and I have a excitement about this because I love to see, especially a business like you guys, and it doesn't mean franchising is the only option. It's just one. There's a lot of ways to scale a business.
Absolutely.
But for example, you guys are a great client for me because you want to grow.
Yeah.
And you want to take over this area. So, and maybe way beyond that.
Right.
So what that does for me is it forces me to work harder.
Okay.
What I don't really want anymore, and there's plenty of marketing agencies out there for this, is I like helping small, little tiny startups. I like it, but I do it almost like charity. And I don't mean this to sound the wrong way, but some of the businesses that start up that will contact me, they don't have any money.
Yeah.
And they're not ready. In fact, some of them, I had a guy, I didn't charge him a dime. I worked for him kind of off and on for free for a couple months just over the phone.
Yeah.
And I even wrote him up an instruction manual on how to go start your contracting business in Washington State. I showed him where to go on the state websites because I've done all the business licensing things so many times.
Yeah.
I told him, here's what to say to your accountant. Here's how, here's an accountant, or here's what to do if you have to go to.
We've all done that.
Yeah. But we've done it ourselves, but we take it for granted.
Right.
Yeah.
But so I'm like, well, he wanted help, and he's out, and I'm like, you don't even need me.
Right.
You just need this simple website. You need this, and you need to go out and shake some hands, right? And so I ended up, he wanted to give me money, and I don't take it.
Yeah.
Because it just doesn't make any sense. Because what'll happen is he'll be under a lot of pressure, and now I'm spending all this money on marketing. Now I got to make it work, and you're not ready yet. So there's logical phases of a business. As a small business goes from startup phase to that early growth. And in the beginning, it's just about, getting it off the ground and making some sales.
Right.
Then it becomes more about your processes, and you got to go back and figure out how to hire people.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you go through another growth phase where you're scaling sales, and you have to have a sales team, and then you're going to worry about a little bit of marketing.
Right.
And then beyond that, you're growing. And so each step, there are different headaches. I want the ones that have already gone a little bit in.
Well, can I be a little greedy here? Because every podcast that we do, we have an element of where we discuss what Wicked Wraps has done for the business that we're representing inside of our podcast.
Yeah.
In this particular case, you've helped us. So on a greedy side, if you don't mind, since we can't go in that direction, could you offer the viewers just a few minutes? Because I believe we've done a really eloquent job of complimenting your business and your style and your expertise.
Yeah.
Could you tell the viewers what about Wade and I and our business do you like? What is it that you say no? Because you've said it a few times, and I want them to hear from your perspective.
Yeah.
From a deep, dark inspection where you're down there doing all of these analytics and SEOs, and when you look up and see what Wade and I are doing and what you've done for us, what is it that you go, I like those guys. I want to work with them. It's good. I've never heard that. I've never had this comfort,
This is the best. That is the best way I've ever heard anybody fish for a compliment. And I'll give you the compliment. That was very intelligent.
Oh shit, he's on to me.
That was elegant. That was pretty good. No, but I'll you need somebody to change something, and I will do it. And you know what? I'm happy to, because so first of all, I I got to back up just for a second.
Yeah, of course.
There was a good 10 years or 15 years that I didn't really know what was going on with Wade, because we met and we knew each other for 4 or 5 years, and then kind of things, I moved on, he moved on.
Yeah.
I basically heard of you or saw it on Facebook once every 5 years, but there was not much, I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
So a lot changed.
Oh, yeah.
And so with that being said, I'm going to talk about the new iteration.
Yeah.
Rather than the old,
of course,
if I can.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
So the new iteration, but some of the old is still there, and I'll mention that. First thing is this man's passion for this, he's like takes it to an art form. I mean, you have a great partner in the fact that the actual wrapping part, he's not just in the business because it's a business to make money, although you have to.
Yep.
But you're in the business because you love this stuff. Like, you're a nerd about wrapping and PPF and tint and all that. Like, you're a dork when it comes to this stuff. Like if you haven't heard Wade talk, just come into the shop and ask him about wraps, and he will talk your ear off for like 4 hours, and it'll be amazing because you know so much.
Right.
So you go really deep, and you're really wide and broad with the product knowledge.
Yeah.
And to me, that's really critical.
Yeah.
Because you know your stuff.
Yeah.
If somebody knows your stuff, it's easy to market them, because all I'm doing is shining the spotlight on a star. He's already an artist when it comes to this. So that's easier to promote, right? So again, it goes back to the product. If you guys are the product, you guys represent the product so well, it's easy to promote.
Yeah.
Right.
And then your finished product, which is the actual wrap.
Right.
Obviously it's good work, and you care about it, you stand behind it, and you redo it when it's not done right. And you know, when you do make mistakes, you go and make up for it. And you like, all of that is there.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the other thing is along with the artistry is your designs are really unique. So very unique designs. You're not just knocking somebody else off. You're actually creating original art.
Yeah.
And I would call it art.
Yeah, absolutely. I know.
So we all wish we could do art in marketing, and not all of us get to. So when I'm going and fixing somebody's Google business profile and dealing with Google customer service, I don't feel like an artist. Like when I'm dealing with like that kind of stuff. But then when I see, oh, look at what this result sent. We got some more customers for this.
Yeah.
And look at what they're going to end up with.
Yeah.
And then that's where the art comes in. So part of it is the artist. Then also I'm going to compliment Christopher, because then you did something very wise, and you got rid of other old relationships
100%.
that were not necessarily a good fit, and you found a fantastic fit with someone who compliments you. So Christopher, awesome attitude, amazing business experience. You've got all of this wisdom that you bring from another business. So this is not your first rodeo, which is very important in a business if it's going to be successful.
Yeah.
And then also you have sales skills, and you have networking skills, and you have people skills that this is no offense, but I think he has a higher score than you.
Oh yeah, so 100%. He 100%
You got a great score.
So
I like
mine's
it.
a street smart score.
I like you, and I like you, but this man
guy's
has
got the college degree and all the stuff to back the smarts.
It's just complementary.
Yeah.
So it's neither one is necessarily better or worse, but they're a complement, and you need that in a business. It's hard enough to survive in business.
Yeah.
So you have to have you probably heard, if you work all your time on strengthening your weaknesses, at best you got a bunch of mediocre weaknesses. You're now mediocre.
Right.
You want to work on making your strength stronger, so you're Olympian level.
Yeah.
And you have a partnership like this, you can, because you can focus on what you're great at and focus on what you're good at. So that's an attractive to a marketer who comes in like a CMO person, or a fractional CMO, or a digital agency or whatever, because I know I'm partnering with people that know their stuff, and they already have that part figured out. Some of my clients, I'll have to go in and teach them business, and I don't really have time for that. If I'm going to focus on marketing, I can't also teach them business. You guys don't need that. You're already there. Yeah. So then I get to just do what I'm good at.
Yeah.
So then it goes, and then I get to focus more on the things that I love to do.
It actually makes you look good. Well, I was actually just searching for the fact that you say he's funny, I'm gorgeous, but I.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, I mean I kind of.
That's why. That's one of the reasons, and there's more too.
Well, I kind of look at this from a different, I'll kind of draw a little parallel story here. I kind of felt like for a long time I was wrestling a wrestling match with that business partner. And I was a wrestler for 25 years of my life. And it felt like the match never ended, and I never got the takedown. I was just constantly doing the circling on the mat, just constantly dancing. Every time I tried to make the move or get the takedown, I just couldn't finish it. It just wouldn't happen.
And the score was 0-0 for 20 years.
Yes. And
zero-sum game.
Finally,
you know, it's kind of like you get the coach, you know, it's almost like the coach is over there yelling at you, but you can't hear what the coach is telling you, and he's telling you what you need to do, and you just can't hear him, and you can't execute the move. Bring Chris on as my business partner, and I can execute the move.
It's awesome.
So to me, I feel like that match is finally won, and that we've now made this step from where the business was kind of like, yeah, cruising along, and now all of a sudden we're just like this. And
I want to add to that. So the first part, and you just alluded to it, the first part was the people.
Yeah.
But to answer the rest of your question was, what about the business other than just the product?
Right.
Well, there's another factor, and that is that this is something that I see could scale. And I'm not, you know, I don't have a crystal ball, and it really depends on what you guys want to do.
Right.
But when I look at business very carefully, and I think what businesses can scale, and I try to camp out there.
That's awesome.
So I have some clients.
oh, that was a tent out there, huh?
Literally.
Oh no, that's just Seattle.
If you saw my stuff behind the side, I moved my bedroom over here.
This was my job.
So that is something, you know, I could see you guys also, and the reason why that's important, scaling, is for the success for profitability, but also for if we really want to do what we say what we want to do, which is help people. If you have a business that can grow, you're going to help way more people than a business that doesn't grow as much.
Yeah.
Because a business like this, you're going to be able to, first of all, get more customers, which helps the customer in the end results, but it also helps you hire more people.
Absolutely.
You're providing more jobs, which then provides for those families.
Yeah.
And then it's the butterfly effect.
Yeah.
And then if you decide to expand into other cities and open up other shops, then you're gonna multiply, not just addition. You're growing by multiplication instead of addition. You can always add one more employee or one more customer, but if you add another shop, you're multiplying.
Right. You're adding more customers.
You're adding multiples of everything.
Right.
You're adding 10 more employees. You're adding, you know, hundreds of more customers every time you do that. So I'm always on the lookout for that, and it's actually rare.
Yeah.
And I think you guys have that potential.
It's on board.
Yeah.
We are very, very close to each launch point that we've been expecting.
Yeah.
The first one coming up with our new expanding business.
Yeah.
Second one will be the new satellite or franchise, and after that, a secondary franchise. We speak of it every single day, and it's those aspirations of me speaking it to Wade, and Wade calibrating it and looking at ideas, and then he bounces it back to me. One thing that I don't want anything except Wade to be happy in this business. He deserves it. What I'm hoping for when I bring Wade into new ideas, new opportunities, is I believe so wholeheartedly in his knowledge, his kindness, and his ability to teach, that I want to see him succeed as a trainer. I want to see us have our own training, facilities here, and just imagine that, just that one element of him doing it. I know your wheels are already spinning because I'm already, as a pilot, I'm already 25 miles down, looking at the mountain range. I can see where this is going to take our advertising and what you can do with all of this. And guess what? But it gives him an opportunity to refine the natural talent that he's created of being able to teach. And he puts on a clinic down here with our guides. Imagine if we did that with 15 people that just want to learn how to do this so they know how to do it. That's where now, and again, we're going to do it ethically, methodically, and we're not going to step on any toes, but that is a talent. You see, and that's what you want your friends to grow. You want us to grow. You want businesses, and that's why we want so wholeheartedly to tell people what you can do for their business.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's great, Christopher.
I think I'm gonna take us out of here. But first and foremost, StoddarAgency.com, and what's your other?
AutoStyleMarketing.com.
So StoddarAgency.com, AutoStyleMarketing.com.
Cool name.
Yes, it's a great name. Go check Jesse's companies out. If you are in the automotive industry, window tint, paint protection film, body shops, you do wheels, tires, you just sell accessories for vehicles, or maybe you just bolt them on for cars, or maybe you're just a full-on custom shop like we are. Reach out to Jesse. I can't say enough good things about the SEO that he's done right here in Mukilteo, Washington for wickedraps.net. Go check out our website. He's made our website even better. It's sexier than we could have ever imagined. Yes. The functionality of getting through that website is also amazing. So I encourage you to check out that platform. If you've got a website, maybe it's clunky, maybe it needs some fixing, Jesse can help you out with that stuff. Support an honest, local, trustworthy guy right here in Washington. This is the dude you need for your SEO stuff. Don't take it for granted. Go check him out. Give this guy an opportunity to earn your business. Again, this is Wade with Wicked Wraps from Mukilteo, Washington, with my business partner, Christopher Goff, and our guest here, Jesse Stoddard from the Stoddard Agency and automotive style. Yeah, autostylemarketing.com. Thanks, guys. Again, Wade with wickedwraps.net out of Mukilteo, Washington.
Thanks, Jason.
Bye. Thank you, guys. Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, this was really fun.
That was great.
Yeah, you guys make this